former Deputy National Security Advisor to President George W. Bush and Special Presidential Envoy for the Global Coalition to Counter ISIL under President Trump, Ambassador James Jeffery. Ambassador, thank you so much for taking the time to be with us today. Battle damage assessments are being done, we are told, by the Pentagon now, so we don't quite know the extent of what was accomplished yesterday, but your initial reactions to this engagement last night.
First of all, this was a huge strike compared to the pinprick strikes we have been doing since October in response to attacks on American forces. That said, the real purpose of it is not military, believe me, despite the impressive explosions you're seeing. The Iranian-backed militias in Syria and Iraq have far more weapons, far more capabilities than we can take out in even one set of 85 targeted strikes. Rather, what this is trying to do is to send a signal to Iran, a careful signal: don't escalate directly or through your surrogates in Iraq, Yemen, Syria, or elsewhere, as the struggle in Gaza, which is the main event in the Middle East right now, and the struggle between Iran and friends and the rest of the region continues.
Ambassador, you mentioned the pinprick strikes since the October 7th massacre. Was that a strategic error on our part to not engage Hezbollah or the Houthis with a more aggressive firepower to try to deter their involvement and the expansion of this conflict over the last several months?
Tom, you're absolutely right, but I wasn't just in those administrations. I was in the Obama administration as ambassador to Iraq and several other places. This is typically what American presidents try to do. They don't really want to have military conflict, so they do the most minimum response to say, I can shoot back, but boy, I'm shooting at empty sheds and that kind of thing. And that never works. Going back to Bill Clinton going after al-Qaeda, you'll remember, in Sudan and other places. It never works, and we keep doing it. And then we learn, and then we do something like this strike or Donald Trump's killing of Qasem Soleimani, the leader of the Iranian Revolutionary Guards in 2020.
Mm-hmm. Now, the White House, Ambassador, waited 5 days to respond. Do you believe that our delay gave the Iranians time to move personnel and key material out of these areas so that these strikes would end up being less effective? And if so, why would we do that? Why would we telegraph that and then wait this long?
I don't think that they did that deliberately so that better targets would go away. They claimed that they were striking, and the statements are very clear, but they're a little bit ambiguous in terms of what they're really trying to say. They were attacking Iranian Revolutionary Guard associated targets. Well, hell, there are tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, of Iranian Revolutionary Guard associated Iraqis, Yemenis, Lebanese, and Syrians running around the region. So I don't think that they were trying to have the best targets go away so they wouldn't be able to hit them because there was that was left. I think the timing, I would trust them on the weather and probably internal debates within the administration.
And that was a reason that was given, that there was bad weather, there was lots of cloud cover, and it cleared, and so that gave them the ability to do this when they did. Ambassador, last September, President Biden's National Security Advisor, Jake Sullivan, said that the Middle East was, quote, quieter than it had been for decades. The Biden administration has been criticized for sort of having this kind of pathological optimism when it comes to Iran. Has that clouded their judgment on just how emboldened Tehran really had become in recent years? Because there's clearly a disconnect between where the NSC was in their perception of the region and the reality.
Tom, you're right. This is an important point. Sullivan, I know him. He's a smart guy, but still, this administration essentially did not recognize Iran as a threat to the entire regional order, but rather sort of a problem. problem child. They have the nuclear program, they support bad actors. So among the many things you do in the Middle East, you have an Iran portfolio, and you deal with this and that. And if nothing really bad is going in the night, you figure, hey, it's not so bad. What they missed is, and so did the three administrations before them, Republican and Democrat, is that Iran has slowly moved through the Middle East through this irregular warfare using proxies to seize effective control of Yemen, Syria, Lebanon, Iraq, and Gaza. And now they're waking up to this. What they'll do next, we'll see.
If 9/11 taught us anything, Ambassador, it's that the war doesn't have to necessarily just happen over there. Our enemies can come here and strike us where we live. We know we have a lot of soft targets in this country. Should we be concerned about an event here in the United States by Iran-inspired jihadists, not necessarily by Iran or even formal proxies, but jihadists, especially given the open border, which is a national security issue as well?
Yes. Also, Iran tried to blow up the Cafe Milano here in Washington, D.C. in 2011. They are capable of using terror. But I want to impress on your viewers also what happens over there impacts people. The cutoff of trade in the Red Sea has an effect on prices. The 1973 oil embargo sent oil prices surging, for those of us old enough to remember. The Middle East doesn't go away, and what happens there impacts us almost as much as things that happen here.
30 seconds, Ambassador. Exit question for you, and this kind of gets to your last point on sanctions. If this is going to be more than just window dressing, does the administration need to reimpose sanctions on the Iranian regime?
The administration should impose tougher sanctions on Iran, along with an overall effort in the region with our friends and allies to push back on what they are doing, undermining all of these countries. Yes.
All right, Ambassador James Jeffery, thank you so much, sir. We really appreciate you taking the time to be with us today.
Thank you.